We are going to bounce now over to our field correspondent. I've labeled her the senior roving hall correspondent, Josephine Cheng, who's out there on the hood floor to experience some of the great demos for herself.
Absolutely, senior. Because you hear the buzz around me, that's because there's more than 100 people in here now for Demo Fest. They actually get to lay their hands on the actual products like Cortana or Lab of Things. And we are fortunate to have Evelyne Viegas here with us, and you're going to demonstrate something called CodaLab. So briefly explain what CodaLab is.
Thank you, Josephine. So CodaLab is an open source platform for machine learning research, which allows you to learn from other researchers, to share data and code, and also to create experiments and collaborate with others. That's one aspect. And the other aspect is about being able to do some benchmarkings by creating competitions.
So let's see what you mean. Let's say that a researcher comes to your site, and then what do they...
So this is where you come. This is CodaLab.org. And then I'm going to show right now one aspect, which is the first aspect about worksheets, what we call worksheets, which is about sharing data, sharing code, and really about doing an experiment and showing others how you went about solving a problem. So for instance, here, if I look at this specific worksheet, which was created by Chalearn, which, by the way, if we're here this morning, Chalearn is from Stanford University.
Right, and the faculty award winner, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so his vision for CodaLab really comes from a person who is one of our community leads.
So this is just an example, this Lewis Carroll poem.
Cool.
And what...
This is just an example. So here, actually, what you do is like, you just see, for this example, I want to see how I'm going to take a poem, some text, and I want to parse it in the field of natural language processing. So I can describe what I do so somebody else can come and do exactly what I'm doing. So
parsing, you mean to like figure out either what it means or to analyze it?
Exactly. For instance, if you look at this little text here, what we're going to do is just like decompose this text in terms of figuring out what are the tokens, what are the words, what are the verbs, the nouns, the actions, the events.
That's a funny poem. Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder what you're at. Up above the world you fly, like a tea tray in the sky.
Yeah, now do you want to know what the determiners, the nouns, the verbs are? Okay, so...
Yeah, I want to know what the poem means.
Right, so what I'm going to show you today is just like you can actually use some libraries from somewhere else in the world and apply them to your problem. So that's what we do here, for instance, with these libraries. You discuss the process, you can put some metadata so that other researchers can actually redo what you're doing. That's really about reproducible research. What I'm going to show you, we also have a command line interface, which means that you can run it and then you can actually then provide some outputs, here if I manage to get there, and which gives you here all those determiners and all that, but it's not, this example specifically...
That's not easy to understand.
Right.
So you have a better way to interpret it.
Indeed. So now I cannot really visualize all that. I mean, I cannot read it. It's good for the machine, but not so much for me as a human, right?
Or me.
So, indeed. So we're going to go and find some other libraries, and now we're going to apply some visualization library. And the first thing I just showed you, we're going to show you now some little visualization here, which is going to come up, and where you'll be able, in a second here, to see, right? So now those determiner, there is a determiner, these are noun phrases, so on and so forth.
So the import... That's just an example. I mean, obviously they're not going to be analyzing poems, they'll be analyzing data sets.
Absolutely.
And why would scientists want to share? I mean, aren't scientists sometimes a little proprietary about their work?
Well, it's okay to be proprietary and to be, wanting to keep it to yourself at the very beginning while you are kind of experimenting. But as part of the science process and the research process, you want to make sure that your results can be validated by others. And that's the whole point here. Really making it really, really easy to be able to do reproducible research.
And I want to bring in here Isabella Guyon, who is a researcher at Chalearn. She's someone who uses CodaLab, a customer basically. So can you show us how you run competitions, right? That sort of allow scientists to figure out what is the best solution to a problem.
That's right. I'm the president of Chalearn, which is an organization dedicated to organizing challenges in machine learning that are competitions in which scientists can demonstrate excellence.
Show us an example.
we put out a number of problems. So recently, we put out a competition on cause-effect pairs. The participants had to determine whether given some variables, A is the cause of B or B is the cause of A. And they made a true breakthrough. They improved tremendously compared to the baseline performance.
So, for example, if A is smoking and B could be lung cancer, does A cause B?
That's correct. You see lots of claims, in the media. Recently, people claimed that chocolate consumption was influencing the brain, because there was an article in the New England Journal of Medicine where actually the researchers showed there's correlation between chocolate consumption and the number of Nobel Prizes per capita.
Oh, really? I'm all for that. Eat more chocolate. Anyway, let's see the results of the competition, like who won and what is that?
So here are the winners. So starting from performances that were near 0.5, so near random, the best entrants made a big leap in performance. The error rate fell down, and that the accuracy is near 82%. And that for an execution time which is relatively modest. The beauty of CodaLab is that it lets participants submit their code, so the code can be benchmarked, and both the speed is measured as well as the accuracy.
That's interesting. So the competition lets them arrive at answers quicker, but also that they can collaborate afterwards as to what good ideas that they have. Very interesting work. Thank you, Evelyne. And you can go to CodaLab.org to try it out, to register and try it out. Chris?